Xia Xi listens painfully to the cruel words of her boyfriend, who is breaking up with her. He and his new girlfriend insult her appearance, calling her unattractive and boring. The breakup in high school because of her appearance deeply hurt Xia Xi. This caused her to withdraw into herself and escape into the world of online games, where communication seemed easier. In the virtual world, she is the goddess Seer, a beautiful avatar admired by all players. She is showered with compliments and declarations of love. In the game, she finds not only happiness, but also love with Z. His sudden decision to meet in the real world takes her by surprise. She tries to dissuade him, fearing that her real appearance will disappoint him. Z assures her that he loves her for her inner world and that her appearance does not matter. He promises her eternal love, regardless of her appearance. This touching assurance strengthens their bond. Reality turns out to be harsh. Both are shocked by each other's appearance. Awkwardness hangs in the air, destroying their virtual idol. She tries to convince herself that appearance is not important, believing in his deep feelings. His question about the hotel room catches her off guard. He suggests spending the night together, and she, inspired by the hope of eternal love, agrees. She feels that she has finally found her happiness. Waking up alone in the morning, she does not find him next to her. A slight anxiety begins to creep into her heart. Picking up her phone, she sees something that plunges her into absolute horror. He has posted her intimate photos online, where she is ridiculed and insulted. Her world collapses as she reads the cruel comments. Her dream of love is shattered. Having lost all hope, she decides that life no longer has any meaning. As she dies, she makes one last wish, to become a true goddess in her next life. Her consciousness fades, leaving only one question. Does the next life really exist? She is met by an angelic being who announces her enrollment in the goddess creation system. She is promised a new life in exchange for completing missions. The system offers her access to gyms, spas, libraries, and shops. However, all these benefits are not free. The currency is charisma points, which can be earned by inspiring admiration in men or envy in others in the real world. The first task is to attract the main male character of this world, Huangfu Mingluan. Failure in this test will feel like death. She wakes up in an unfamiliar old room, dismissing it all as a strange dream. Memories of meeting Z, betrayal, and the appearance of a fairy seem crazy to her. Feeling weak, she decides to get up. She stumbles over the hem of a long dress, wondering where such unusual clothes came from. Looking around at the unfamiliar surroundings, she begins to suspect that this is not a dream, but a journey through time. The realization of the time jump overwhelms her. Remembering a cliché from novels, she begins to look for a mirror. She finds a mirror, full of hope that, like the heroines of books, she has been reborn in a new, beautiful body. In the reflection, she sees her old face with freckles. Hope is replaced by bitter disappointment. She cries, realizing that the novels lied. Her appearance has not changed, and she still considers herself ugly. Exhausted by tears, she begins to doubt. Maybe there was no transportation, and it was all just a prank. The suspicion that she has fallen victim to a cruel prank forces her to leave the room and look around. A huge, deserted courtyard stretches out before her. She doesn't understand where she is or why there is no one around. A woman suddenly appears, grabs her roughly, and scolds her for being lazy. It turns out that today is Mr. Minluan's birthday. She is dragged off to prepare for the celebration, but she still thinks it's all a setup. When she sees a handsome man, she hears the name Minluan. The system announces the appearance of the target and reminds her of her mission. The other maids begin to mock her for the way she looks at the master. Convinced that this is a reality show, she angrily accuses everyone of trying to humiliate her. She shouts insults at Mingluan. Deciding to play along and die again, she looks at her wrist but finds no scar from her previous suicide attempt. Shock overwhelms her. Such a deep scar could not have disappeared. She realizes that this is not her body and that the transfer is real. The realization of what is happening robs her of her strength. Everything around her is not a performance. When they are about to punish her, Minluan suddenly intervenes. He declares that he is taking this girl for himself. His men obey him without question, and he orders them to take her to the Shoshi Pavilion. At the banquet, one of the ladies is concerned about her husband's silence. She worries that she may have offended him in some way. Her friend reassures her, explaining that her husband, Minnie, is simply worried about their child. She emphasizes what an honor it is to be invited to Minluan's birthday party. At that moment, Minluan arrives, accompanied by Xia Xi. The tense silence between the brothers does not go unnoticed. It turns out that the brothers have made a bet. The first one to speak, surprised by the other's gift, will lose. Their father, Imperial General Huan Fumu, enters the hall. Everyone present bows in respect. The general looks at his sons with undisguised contempt. He considers them both worthless. He laments that neither son has followed in his footsteps. He's annoyed by their childish behavior at such an important event. The father furiously demands an answer from them, but they remain silent because of their bet. Their sister tries to defuse the situation. Xia Xi watches the strange family scene. She doesn't understand why Mingluan brought her, a simple servant, to this celebration. The idea of the main character's shield from novels comes to her mind. Unattractive heroines always receive protection and love, no matter what happens. The absence of a scar and the task from the system convince her of her chosen status. She decides that she is the main character of this world. Confident in her role, she imagines a bright future with Mingluan. The gift-giving ceremony begins. Ming's wife, Yuzhen, presents his gift to Mingluan. Among the gifts are armor, a horse, and Min's favorite concubine, Yuzhen. Yuzhen is presented as a living gift, in the hope that Minluan will be pleased. Yuzhen is horrified that her husband has given her away like a thing. Minluan, shocked, begins to cough. She cannot believe the absurdity of what is happening. Her world is falling apart. Xia Xi feels sorry for the girl, but she suddenly expresses joy and thanks him for the honor. This baffles Xia Xi. The other women envy Yuzhen because she can become Mingluan's main wife. Xia Xi realizes how strange these people's thinking is. Minji announces his victory in the dispute, but Mingluan reminds him that his gift has not yet been presented. As a return gift, Mingluan brings his brother to Xia Xi. He introduces her as a crazy and dirty servant found on the road. Xia Xi is horrified to realize that she is also being given away. Mingluan provokes his brother, suggesting that he restrain his surprise and remain silent. Minnie calls the stunt childish but admits it is amusing. Minluan triumphs, his brother has spoken, which means he has also lost. His sister declares a draw, but reproaches Minluan for his gift being an insult compared to the beautiful Yuzhen. Their father scolds Minluan. He brushes it off, suggesting that his brother simply throw the girl out, but Minnie decides to take her. Minnie cruelly declares that she will kill her and turn her into fertilizer. Minluan, wanting to settle the conflict, indifferently agrees. The family quickly forgets what happened and continues the celebration as if nothing had happened. Irritated by her appearance, Minnie orders her to be taken away. She cannot utter a word. She is horrified by how easily and indifferently this family has decided her fate. No one asked her opinion or cared about her life. Suddenly, she finds the courage to speak her mind. She asks who gave them the right to dispose of other people's lives and treat people like objects. She accuses them of hypocrisy and calls their nobility a mask that hides animal cruelty. She points out how abnormal Yuzhen's behavior is, as she values her husband's status rather than him as a person. This world seems monstrous to her. She proclaims herself to be the only sane person in this crazy world and demands freedom. When the guards try to take her away, both brothers stop them and order them to bring the girl to them. She is forced to kneel. The brothers find her amusing, and she realizes that her plan has worked. She has achieved her goal. She has attracted the attention of her target. Now, as the main character, she is confident that she will survive. Minluan destroys her hopes. He coldly informs her that she is far from the first to try to attract his attention in this way. He smirks and offers to tell her what happened to those girls. Her face is contorted with fear. Minnie explains that he could tolerate beautiful girls, but she is the ugliest he has ever seen. Her father orders her to be severely punished. Her sister suggests carrying out Minnie's original plan and turning her into fertilizer. She is dragged away. Her soul is filled with hatred for this cruel world. She is beaten, and every moment is filled with unbearable hatred. She curses the world obsessed with appearance and her own naivety. She realizes that she can only count on herself. The system declares the training a failure and restarts the mission. Now it's for real, and she vows never to die because of her appearance again. The task remains the same, but now failure means real death. Surviving is her only goal. Time is rewound, and she is back in the same room. But now she sees everything with different eyes. She knows that behind the door awaits a path to destruction. She must act differently. Suddenly, a magic wand appears in front of her. The system welcomes her and informs her that while her body is asleep, she can use the system's space to prepare. She decides to get more information from the system's NPC. After clarifying the rules, she asks if there is anything here that is free. Beiyabao informs her that the exercise equipment and books in the library are free of charge. She's allowed 8 hours per day to use the system. After changing her clothes, she steps onto the treadmill. For the first time, she honestly looks at her body and acknowledges her weight problem. She regrets her pretense and escape from reality. Now she is determined to change everything. She asks the system to project a book onto the wall so she can study while she trains. She pushes herself to the limit. Gritting her teeth, she continues to run, telling herself that she must try even harder. After a while, another maid notices that Xia Xi has lost weight and become more beautiful. After finishing her work, she thinks about her diet and training. She realizes that she needs to be patient and wait for the right moment. A servant named Bob brings her food and shows her attention. For the first time in her life, she encounters flirting. She is overcome with mixed feelings. The man offers her protection in exchange for her favor. She politely thanks him but refuses, citing a fictitious illness that caused her to lose weight. She dramatically declares that she is possessed by evil spirits and begs him for help. The man runs away in horror, asking not to be involved. She is pleased with her cunning and decides that this is a good way to scare off ill-wishers. She meets a noble lady with purple hair. This is Huangfu Yixin. Yixin asks where she serves. Ziosi answers, but the lady immediately scolds her for saying her name without permission. Ziosi skillfully flatters the lady, who, pleased with the compliment, offers her a job in her department. She learns that Lady Yixin's house is next to Mingluan's house. At that moment, he himself appears and calls his sister. It turns out that the brother and sister are very close, and he often comes to her house to play chess. Ziosi watches them play. Mingluan loses again and capriciously complains about his sister's skill. Yixin explains that Mingluan is trying to surpass his older brother at least in chess. She also recalls the recent incident with the gift. Mingluan irritably dismisses the topic of women. Xia realizes that her presence or absence would not have changed anything that day. She realizes that her fate is in her own hands. If she doesn't do something, she could be killed at any moment. An idea related to chess comes to her. She immediately enters the goddess creation system. She has 10 charisma points earned from flirting with the servant. She spends them all on books about chess. The thought of death if she fails makes her study with incredible diligence. She must learn everything to survive. Combining physical training with studying strategies, she pushes herself to exhaustion. During another game of chess, Minluan praises the tea, noting its unusual taste. Yixin says that it is thanks to her new maid, Xia Xi, and calls her over. Xia Xi politely greets the master and offers him other varieties of tea to try. He is pleased. Mingluan is impressed by her talent. She gains +2 charisma points and realizes that skills also bear fruit. She sees an opportunity that cannot be missed. The risk is great, but she decides to act. She deliberately knocks the teapot onto the chessboard, interrupting the game. She immediately falls to her knees and asks to be punished for her carelessness. Yixin is upset about the ruined game. Ziosi asks permission to correct her mistake. Mingluan doubts that the complex position on the board can be restored. To his amazement, she quickly and accurately puts all the pieces back in their places, demonstrating her phenomenal memory. After restoring the game, she humbly says that she is ready to accept punishment. Minluan is amazed by her abilities. He asks his sister where she found such an interesting servant. Yixin suggests that Xia Xi always serve them during games. Xia Xi receives a flurry of charisma points, and her score reaches 50. She is glad that she impressed Minluan. The accumulated points allow her to receive her first reward, a whitening essence. The essence will help get rid of freckles, but it requires caution. She is determined to become beautiful. A few weeks later, Mingluan, faced with a difficult situation in chess, turns to Xia Xi for advice. Her skin has become clearer. She tactfully refuses to give advice, citing the rules of etiquette. Instead, she compliments his mind and serves him a new, healthy tea. He looks at her and cannot help but notice how much she has changed and become more beautiful. He realizes how much effort she puts into pleasing him, from studying his preferences to taking care of herself. Her charisma points have risen to 120. She understands what he likes, but that's not enough. He has to start truly appreciating her. She decides that she must become indispensable to him. The other maids envy her and spread nasty rumors about her, accusing her of trying to seduce their master. They openly express their dislike for her. She sees their envy and for the first time feels sadness instead of anger. She realizes how pathetic these women are, whose happiness depends entirely on a man's favor. She swears she will never become like them. She will fight for her place and her right to live for herself. In order to survive, she breaks the teapot. The noise attracts Minluan's attention. She pretends she fell accidentally and apologizes for the disturbance. He notices the tears in her eyes, but she denies everything, blaming it on dust. He furiously orders the other maids to kneel and scolds them for bullying her. He kicks them all out, saying he is ashamed to have such people in his service. Yixin suggests that Xia Xi serve him from now on. Embarrassed, he agrees. He asks for her consent, and she obediently replies that she will serve them both. Before letting her go to her brother, Yixin decides to talk to Xia Xi alone. On the bridge, Yixin says that she sees Xia Xi's intelligence and quick wit. She bluntly reminds Xia Xi of her humble origins, which will prevent her from aspiring to anything more, even if she gives birth to a child. However, Yixin admits that she hopes Xia Xi is pregnant. Mingluan's lack of a wife and concubines worries the whole family. Xia Xi understands everything. Yixin secretly helped her, hoping that after her relationship with the maid, her brother would finally agree to a suitable marriage. Yixin promises that the child will be adopted and raised on the estate. Xia Xi, feigning submission, thanks her. Satisfied with her humility, Yixin lets her go to pack her things. Inside, Xia Xi is boiling with rage. She understands that Yixin's kindness is dictated by selfishness, and that her fate has once again been decided for her. She is aware of all the risks, but is ready to go all the way. She comes to Mingluan, who is training. He is happy to see her. She promises to take good care of him, but shyly averts her gaze from his naked torso. He misinterprets her embarrassment, thinking that she is worried about his clothes. His naivety is striking. She realizes that seducing this simpleton will not be easy. Helping him in the bathroom, she reflects on how love often begins with desire. She decides that she will not be just his toy. She will make him truly love her. At the same time, she swears to herself that she will never give him her heart. Unexpectedly, he grabs her hand, which scares her greatly. He is simply admiring the strength of her hands, comparing them to his previous servant. Satisfied, he promises her a raise in salary. She is annoyed by his impenetrable naivety. She mentally lists the reasons for her steadfastness, which he has no idea about. She becomes the perfect servant, anticipating his every desire and taking care of him. He is completely dependent on her, and considers her a real treasure who makes his life comfortable. She realizes her mistake. He values her, but it is not the kind of value she was striving for. His attitude toward her is one of attachment to a guardian or master, not the feelings of a man toward a woman. The lack of new charisma points confirms her fears. She realizes that she needs to change her tactics, otherwise he will continue to take her for granted. She decides to use her older brother, Huangfu Minji, to teach Mingluan a lesson. During the next game, Minji begins to provoke his younger brother, teasing him about his indecisiveness. After a verbal exchange, Mingluan demands that Xia Xi bring him tea, stating that he is only accustomed to her drinks. He ostentatiously enjoys the tea, teasing his brother, who is not allowed to drink it. Yixin informs Minji of his brother's affection for the maid. Intrigued, Minji asks Xia Xi to pour him a cup of tea. She serves him a different tea, bamboo tea, explaining that she knows his preferences. Minnie is impressed by her knowledge. Jokingly, he offers his brother to give him this precious maid. Minluan categorically refuses, stating that he would not trade her for 10 beauties. Minnie is pleased to see that his brother has become attached to something. Then Minnie addresses Xia Xi directly. To Minluan's shock, she agrees to enter the service of the elder master. She calmly explains to the confused Minluan that as a servant of the estate, she is obliged to obey any of the masters. She makes it clear to him that she does not belong to him alone. Only the fear of loss will make him realize her value. Upset and confused, he makes a mistake and loses the game. He leaves in anger, and Xia Xi follows him. Minnie and Yixin find the situation amusing. Yixin remarks with a smile that her younger brother does not know how to appreciate what he has. Minnie agrees, noting that both the tea and the situation as a whole are quite exquisite. Catching up with Minluan, she tries to understand whether her plan worked and whether he got the hint. He sends her back and rides away himself. She is left completely perplexed. Minluan arrives at the Seiji queue, who, as it turns out, was waiting for him. Minluan says that he has finally understood the words spoken by the sage during their last meeting. He realized that he has nothing truly his own in his own family. Even the maid does not belong to him. He understands that his parents love only his older brother, and they only spoil him. He asks for advice on what to do when his interests clash with those of his brother. The sage responds by asking his opinion of Minnie. The sage points out his older brother's talents, and the fact that it was he, not Minluan, who received the recent appointment. The sage reveals the truth about his birth. He is the son of a concubine, and the general, out of pity, gave him to his main wife to raise. Shocked, Minluan nevertheless says that he does not want to destroy the family he loves and leaves. The sage wonders if Minluan will be able to remain calm after hearing this. In the distance, Xia Xi senses his approach. She worries that her plan has failed. Suddenly, she notices a little girl crying. After a brief internal struggle, she approaches the child and offers her help. The girl, named Yuer, complains that no one loves her, and that she only gets the leftovers of her older sister's attention. Xia Xi realizes that the reason for the different treatment of the sisters lies in their origins. She decides to tell the girl a fairy tale about the ugly duckling. The maid tells the little girl a modified fairy tale about the ugly duckling, in which the mother duck demanded food from him in exchange for love. In her story, the duckling found friends who accepted him because he was a swan, and they were also swans, unlike the ducks, who could not understand his beauty. The maid explains the moral of the story to the girl. Her value is not determined by her origin or the opinions of others, because she is a swan among ducks. The maid's words seem to reach the man, who reflects on the fact that only a person himself can determine his value. The maid Xia Xi is surprised to receive many points of charm. Meanwhile, the habits of the young master Mingluan are changing. He loses interest in tea and starts drinking liquor. Mingluan is now fascinated by horse riding, archery, and military strategy, which ruins all of Xia Xi's plans to get closer to him. Tired and ready to give up, Xia Xi encounters the second master, Minjiu, who recognizes her as his brother's maid. Xia Xi formally greets Master Minjiu in the garden pavilion. Minjiu notes his third brother's obsession with martial arts and passes him some medicinal herbs, commenting on the changes in his character. Minjiu asks Xia Xi to serve him tea while they wait for Mingluan to return, and she agrees. Mingluan returns home on horseback, looking gloomy and depressed. The servants notice his coldness and bad mood. He feels even worse despite his attempts to distract himself and wants to take a bath. He calls Xia Xi to prepare a bath for him, but cannot find her, and his anxiety grows. Minluan furiously discovers Xia Xi serving tea to his brother Minyu, and angrily reprimands her. Minluan tries to take Xia Xi away, but Minyu stops him, suggesting that she serve him tea first, and questioning the change in his brother's character. Minluan imperiously grabs Xia Xi by the hand, declaring that she is his servant and belongs only to him. Minyu is amused by his brother's seriousness and provokes him by asking what he will do if he wants to take Xia Xi for himself. An enraged Mingluan threatens to forget their brotherly bond if Minjiu tries to take Xia Xi away from him. Minjiu is shocked and outraged by his brother's tone, which he allows himself to use because of a simple servant girl. He asks if Mingluan is not afraid of hurting his brother's heart and looks genuinely hurt. Minluan clenches his fist, implying that his brother does not treat him like a brother, and leaves in anger with Xia Xi. Left alone, Minjiu smashes a cup in rage, muttering Minluan's name. He wonders if his younger brother will be able to withstand his anger. Returning to her chambers, Xia Xi apologizes to Mingluan for the trouble she has caused, but he tells her that she has nothing to do with it. Mingluan puts Xia Xi in a difficult position, demanding that she choose whom she would prefer as her master, him or his brother Minjiu. She tries to give a diplomatic answer, saying that all the masters on the estate are her masters, but he dismisses this as nonsense, insisting that there can only be one true master. He continues to press her, asking who she thinks will become the new head of the estate after the old general leaves, him or Minjiu. Xia Xi is inwardly annoyed by these political intrigues, realizing that Mingluan's strange behavior is related to his ambitions, not her. Her goal is simply to survive. Under pressure, Xia Xi gives a politically wise answer. Since the general is famous for his military prowess, his successor should be the son with the best military skills. Minluan is impressed by her concise answer, but laments that, in the end, the firstborn always has the advantage. Xia Xi sees this as a great opportunity. Minluan's trust in her could be the key to advancing her own mission and winning the game. She declares her loyalty, offering to become one of Minluan's pawns to help him achieve his goals. Xia Xi proposes a plan. She will go to the first young master to act as a spy, becoming Minluan's eyes and ears. Acting as an emissary, Xia Xi conveys Minluan's apologies to Minyu. Minyu wonders why his brother did not come in person. Minyu feels insulted that his brother sent a servant, doubting his sincerity. Xia Xi recalls that behind his gentleness lies cruelty. Deep down, Xia Xi understands that the complex political situation between the brothers makes it difficult for Mingluan to visit in person, and she is concerned about Minju's reaction. Minju decides not to take his anger out on her. Instead, he assigns her the difficult task of caring for his tea plants, which is a subtle punishment aimed at his brother. Xia Xi finds this situation ideal. Minju's mockery of her will make Mingluan feel guilty and compassionate towards her. She believes that the more miserable she appears and the more he depends on her, the faster he will fall in love with her. Xia Xi focuses on self-improvement, realizing that beauty, along with her strategic moves, is a key factor in her mission. Later, she meets Mingluan, looking even more beautiful and radiant than before. Xia Xi reports her failure to gather useful information, but Mingluan reassures her. He tells her that she is doing a great job and that Minju is keeping her in the dark to make him angry. Their conversation is interrupted by another maid calling for Xia Xi. Mingluan is furious that another maid dares to give Xia Xi orders, but at that moment, his brother Minju appears with their sister, asking what he is doing there. Their sister, Yinchin, invites Mingluan to try some rare Western fruits that have just been delivered to Minju's pavilion. The brother and sister gather to eat the rare fruit, a delicacy that only they and the emperor have. Minju bluntly asks Mingluan the reason for his visit, while their sister tries to diffuse the tension. After several days of reflection, Mingluan realizes that he cares about his family and does not want to destroy it. He has come to take Xia Xi away. Minju smashes his cup, enraged that Mingluan has come all this way just for a maid. Mingluan confirms his demand. Minju categorically refuses, stating that Xia Xi is now his maid. He mocks his brother, claiming that his own pavilion is better, and that Xia Xi may not even want to return. Mingluan understands his brother's hint and clenches his fists in rage. His sister is confused by his crazy behavior, but Mingluan yells that he is not crazy, he was just blind to the truth. He accuses Minju of disrespect and arrogance, but Minju asserts his superiority as the eldest son and son of the legitimate wife. Their sister tries to intervene, but Mingluan stops her. He allows his brother to take Xia Xi away for now. As he leaves, Mingluan vows to himself that he will take Xia Xi back, along with everything else that rightfully belongs to him. His sister reproaches Minju for his cruelty and suggests returning Xia Xi, but he insists that it is not about the maid. Minju is furious at his brother's constant disrespect and vows not to forgive him without an apology. Another maid informs Xia Xi that the first young master now demands that she serve him in his bedroom. Xia Xi is introduced as Minyu's new personal maid, which she finds strange, but she decides to play along. She sees this as an opportunity. By winning Minyu's favor, she will be able to prove her worth to Minluanyu and gather information for him. Minyu greets Xia Xi, noting that she has gotten a tan from working. He is surprisingly gentle. He officially appoints her as his personal maid and asks her to tell him what is on her mind. When she mentions that Mingluan has not visited her, he angrily forbids her to ever mention his brother's name again. This worries Xia Xi. A month passes without any communication between the brothers. Xia Xi continues her duties in the Kuiwei Pavilion. Minju praises Xia Xi's beauty, comparing her favorably to his many wives. She feels that it is easy to win his favor. She easily pleases him, knowing his preferences, such as his love for acacia flowers. She reflects on how boring Minju's lifestyle is, consisting of art and women, but continues to earn a large number of charm points. With the points, she can change her appearance and exchange the rest for new skills that will remain with her even if the points are reset. She understands that true power comes from wisdom and spiritual growth, not just beauty. Her goal is to become a goddess. The other women in the house gossip about Xia Xi's sudden rise in status and Minju's favor, spreading rumors of enmity between the brothers. The purple-haired sister overhears the gossip and warns the maids not to spread it. She feels neglected by her husband. The third lady, Yixin, finds Xia Xi in the garden and greets her in a sharp, condescending tone. Yixin has come for her brother, Minju, on their father's behalf. He asks Xia Xi to prepare refreshing drinks for his return. As they walk, Yixin asks Minju about his attachment to such a clever maid, and asks if he would give her up if Mingluan gave in. Minju evades the question, saying he will deal with it when the time comes. In the general's office, their father shouts in anger. Their father, General Huangfumu, scolds both sons for the scandalous rumors that they are fighting over a maid. Mingluan tries to explain that it is a disagreement between him and his brother, but their father does not believe them and orders Xia Xi to be kicked out of the house. Both brothers beg their father to rescind his order. Mingluan then requests a private audience to discuss a more important matter. The general dismisses his eldest son, Minjiu, and remains alone with Mingluan, demanding an answer as to whether he is firm in his intentions. The father acknowledges Mingluan's recent diligent study of military affairs, saying that he has noticed his son's changed ambitions. He orders Mingluan to kneel and asks if he realizes his guilt. The general fiercely reminds Mingluan that the position of general was granted to Minjiu by the emperor and cannot be contested. Mingluan asserts that his brother has neither military ability nor ambition, and that succession should not be based solely on birthright. The father insists that the decision was made long ago and cannot be changed, reproaching Minluan for causing discord in the family. Minluan passionately asks for a chance to fight for his ambitions, saying that he is tired of living in humiliation and would rather die in battle. The general is moved by his son's courage, pats him on the shoulder, and acknowledges that he is worthy of being his son. He admits that he was wrong to consider Mingluan mediocre, and agrees to break the rules to allow him to attend the imperial event. He warns Mingluan to behave decently toward the maid. Outside, Minjiu dismisses the shouting as a simple lesson. Yixin suggests reconciliation, but Minjiu explains that for men, backing down on such a matter would mean losing face and power. Minjiu leaves with his sister. Later, Yixin finds Mingluan and asks if he was punished. Yixin tries to mediate, reminding him that family happiness is the most important thing. Mingluan dismisses her concern, saying that she doesn't understand. Back in her room, Xia Xi reflects on her new appearance, which she got thanks to the system. Suddenly, the mission countdown begins. A timer appears. 525, 600 minutes. She is warned that failure to complete the mission on time will result in destruction. She calculates that the deadline is 1 year. She must make Huangfu Mingluan fall in love with her within a year, or she will die. At the hunting grounds, the other maids wonder where their master is. Tingzhu asks Xia Xi for her opinion on today's hunt. Xia Xi gives an evasive answer. The other maids gossip about her, calling her a sycophant who cunningly obtained the position of personal maid. Xia Xi considers their opinions vulgar and ignores them, focusing on the opportunity to see Mingluan. His arrival is announced. There is commotion when Mingluan is brought in, seriously wounded with an arrow in his back. Xia Xi is horrified. Xia Xi tries to approach him, but Minjiu blocks her way, showing her his own bleeding hand. He explains that the emperor was attacked by tigers, and that both he and Mingluan were wounded while protecting him. He asks why she only cares about Mingluan. Xia Xi quickly changes her tone, feigning concern for Minjiu and ordering the other maids to help him. Minjiu sends her to prepare food, telling her not to worry about his wound. She is upset that she missed the chance to take care of Mingluan. Minjiu effectively keeps Xia Xi locked up, forbidding her from approaching Mingluan's courtyard while he recovers under the care of the imperial physician. Minjiu's attitude toward his brother has worsened since the incident. Xia Xi notices that the imperial physician is finally leaving, which means Mingluan has recovered. She plans to wait until Mingluan comes out to pretend to pray for his health and restore her importance in his eyes. Yixin and her maid, Tingzhu, watch Xia Xi. Yixin says she knows about Xia Xi's plan to charm her brother. Yixin plans to turn Xia Xi's cunning against her. After an hour of waiting, Xia Xi sees that Mingluan has finally appeared. As Mingluan approaches, Xia Xi kneels down and prays loudly, hoping that he will see her devotion. Mingluan approaches her. He says that he hoped she would be there when he was sick, and that she would sincerely care about him. He expresses deep disappointment, seeing her prayer as a calculated performance. He orders her to return to Minjiu and says he no longer wants to see her. When Mingluan leaves, Xia Xi wonders how he found out. Yixin appears and reminds her not to desire what does not belong to her. Yixin and Tingzhu confront her. Xia Xi realizes that her every move is being watched and that she has been careless. She reflects on the complex social relationships in the mansion and realizes that all the recent incidents are connected to her. Xia Xi understands that this is a real social battle, unlike the online world, where she could simply block people she didn't like. She acknowledges that in this world, her every action is a reflection of herself, and that what Tingzhu reported about her was a natural consequence of her own behavior. Realizing that she needs to improve her interpersonal skills in order to survive, She turns to the goddess creation system for books and films on the subject. It dawns on her. People looked down on her not because she was worse than them, but because she herself was cold towards others, closing herself off from the world. She was the selfish one. The next day, Xia Xi begins to actively try to befriend the other maids, including Tingzhu, who is suspicious of her sudden change. Tingzhu watches Xia Xi work and smile, wondering if she is plotting revenge for being reported. When another maid comes for Xia Xi on behalf of the master, Xia Xi says she has a cold and suggests that Tingzhu go instead so as not to infect the master. Tingzhu is shocked by such kindness and wonders if it is a trap. Xia Xi asks her to give her a minute. Xia Xi formally apologizes to Tingzhu, acknowledging her guilt and inappropriate behavior as an orphaned peasant girl who does not know etiquette. Tingzhu cannot believe that Xia Xi is apologizing instead of seeking revenge. Xia Xi explains that in their difficult position as maids, there is no point in making enemies when they are all just trying to survive. She tries to bond with Tingzhu by talking about the stresses of their work, and Tingzhu begins to wonder if she is really as good as she seems. Tingzhu decides to wait and see if Xia Xi is sincere, but resolves not to be two-faced if she is. Later, Xia Xi stops Tingzhu from adding ambergris to her master's clothes, as he is going to visit his wife, whose house is made of combustible sandalwood. Xia Xi explains that this combination would be unsafe and could also irritate people's senses. Tingzhu is amazed that she considers such small details. The other maids notice the change in Xia Xi, recalling her recent good deeds, although some remain skeptical. Tingzhu scolds the maids for gossiping and shudders when she discovers Xia Xi standing behind her. Xia Xi says she only heard what she needed to hear and shows no curiosity about the important guest, stating that it is none of her business. Tingzhu remarks that Xia Xi is so strange, as if she were from another world. She asks why Xia Xi did such a foolish thing for Mingluan. Tingzhu realizes that Xia Xi has feelings for Mingluan and calls her pathetic. Xia Xi confesses that she is an orphan with no choice, forced to act according to the system. Tingzhu feels sorry for her and gives her an assignment: to take a dish to the main deck, where the crown prince is. Xia Xi approaches the deck, remembering how she was once brought here as a clown and felt ugly and insecure. Today, she feels reborn. She vows to surpass her old self and make this the place where the winner will be decided. She is determined that this is where Huangfu Mingluan will fall in love with her. The crown prince cancels the planned entertainment and decides to bring something more interesting from the palace. He introduces a parrot and challenges Minjiu and Mingluan to identify it, clearly trying to start a quarrel. It turns out that the prince has been harboring resentment because he was punished after his prank, while hunting endangered the king, while his brothers were rewarded for saving him. The prince is eager to outsmart Huangfu's sons and take revenge after months of harboring resentment. Xia Xi arrives with dessert, and her appearance surprises Mingluan. Mingluan reflects that he hasn't seen her in a long time. Even when others cared for him during his injury, it wasn't the same as her care. He recognizes her as the best servant and one of the few who understands his ambitions, but feels that she has disappointed him. He believes that all her affection was a pretense to use him. This thought enraged him, especially since he has never been so hurt by any of the countless girls who have tried to seduce him. But now, seeing her after a long separation, he is struck by how beautiful she has become. He struggles with his thoughts, trying to dismiss her as just another girl trying to seduce him. The prince refuses dessert and demands that they identify the bird. Xia Xi exclaims what a beautiful parrot it is. The amazed guests note its exquisite coloring. Xia Xi slyly praises the prince's rare treasures, then apologizes for speaking out of turn. The prince asks Minjiu if he also kept a parrot. Minjiu nervously admits that he did, which angers the prince, who feels deliberately humiliated. Mingluan is surprised that Xia Xi recognized the bird. The prince, embarrassed, tries to change the subject. The prince still wants to compete and challenges Mingluan's recently improved chess skills. Minluan tries to be modest, but the prince insists, calling him a coward if he refuses the challenge. The prince laughs, seeing the tension between the brothers. He feels that he has broken through their facade of good relations. He raises the stakes by proposing a 2-on-1 match against both brothers, putting them in a hopeless situation. The prince mocks Minglan, comparing his behavior to how he acts in front of his father. Just as Minglan is about to respond, Xia Xi interrupts him, bringing in a chessboard with a game already set up. She presents the unfinished chess game that Minglan received a few days ago. She points out that, although the black pieces seem hopelessly trapped, There is one saving move that will lead to victory, and she challenges the prince to find it. The prince is embarrassed, and Mingluan scolds Xia Xi for her audacity toward him. Xia Xi reassures Mingluan, asking him to trust her. He reflects on her desire to protect him. Minjiu is puzzled by Xia Xi, wondering who she is, given her extensive knowledge of rare birds and chess. He finds her endlessly entertaining, like an interesting book with new pages constantly appearing. He wonders if she realizes the consequences of her presumptuousness. Minjiu is inwardly annoyed that Xia Xi's heart still belongs to Mingluan. The prince, unable to solve the puzzle, says he does not know the answer. Mingluan mocks the prince, who demands an answer from him, knowing that it would be a crime to deceive the monarch. Xia Xi uses a secret sign language to communicate with Mingluan. Mingluan recalls how he taught her this special sign language, a secret code known only to the two of them. She uses her hands to indicate the moves. Look in the dead end, lower left is empty, attack. Mingluan hesitates, as the move seems like a trap, but decides to trust Xia Xi. He makes the move, and the prince is stunned to see that the trapped pieces have indeed been saved. The prince leaves in a rage. While Mingluan is thinking about how to reward Xia Xi, she suddenly faints. As she faints, she uses sign language one last time to tell him poison. Mingluan is horrified. He realizes that Xia Xi has been poisoned and wonders who the culprit is. The doctor tells Mingluan that Xia Xi is simply overworked, but Mingluan is suspicious of the prescribed herbs. Under pressure, the doctor admits that Xia Xi has been poisoned with zhujai, a rare slow-acting poison used to control servants. The doctor explains that there is no common cure for this poison. Only the person who administered it has the antidote. Mingluan realizes the truth. He guesses that Minjiu, who had suspected Xia Xi from the beginning, poisoned her when she rejected his advances. Now he understands that she suffered at his brother's court and was poisoned, all for his sake, to fulfill her promise. He wonders why she made such sacrifices for him, while the image of her smiling face assures him that he is closer to his goals. He hears her voice in his head, saying that she loves him very much, and he calls her by name. A system notification announces, "Mission accomplished." Xia Xi receives 10,000 charm points and a set of new, expensive tools. The system immediately issues a new mission, to make Huangfu Minjiu fall in love with her. The punishment for failure is death. Xia Xi is furious, demanding to be returned to her world, but the system responds that this option has not yet been unlocked and disappears. Xia Xi wakes up and sees Mingluan next to her. He promises to find an antidote so that she will no longer have to suffer. She is in a panic. She bought the poison from the system and does not know how to cure it, and her new mission is to make Minjiu fall in love with her. Depressed, she starts crying, telling him she can't go back with him. Mingluan is confused, not knowing how to comfort the crying girl. She lies, saying she's crying because she loves him so much. He hugs her, unsure of his feelings but wanting to hold her forever. Their tender moment is interrupted by the appearance of Minjiu. Minjiu confronts his brother, noting how long it has been since Mingluan called him Big Brother. Mingluan demands that Xia Xi be returned, but Minjiu smugly refuses. Minjiu asserts his authority in the house, stating that what he says is important here, and he will not give her to him. He asks if Mingluan is in love with Xia Xi, calling it a rare sight. Then he suggests asking Xia Xi herself what she wants. Both brothers look at Xia Xi, asking if she is ready to return with Mingluan. Despite her new mission, she declares her desire to return with the young master Mingluan. Enraged, Minjiu orders his servants to seize Xia Xi and lock her in a hut, ignoring Mingluan's threats. As she is being led away, Mingluan promises to rescue her. He feels betrayed that she wants to leave him so badly after he has treated her so well. Locked in the storeroom, Xia Xi reflects on Minjiu's anger. She realizes that in order to deal with a narcissist like Huangfu Minjiu, she needs to use cunning methods. By choosing Mingluan, she ignited Minjiu's anger and need for control, ensuring that he would now use her as a pawn in their rivalry. She believes that in his competition with his brother, Minjiu will pay special attention to her in order to boost his self-esteem, and will ultimately fall in love with her. While in confinement, she passes a farewell letter to Mingluan through Tingzhu, who warns her not to dream of the unattainable. In the letter, she declares her devotion, but says she can no longer be his pawn, urging him to follow his dream and reconcile with his brother. The letter strengthens Mingluan's resolve. For Xia Xi's sake and for his own, he vows to become stronger and defeat his brother. Xia Xi is brought to serve Minjiu, who is preparing for a bath and asks her to help him. When she helps him with the towel, He notices that her hands are shaking. He teasingly asks if she is afraid that he will eat her. She denies it. He finds it strange that the maid in his house does not seem to want to be close to him. He sees her as a delicacy he has not yet tasted and approaches her. He calls Minluan unreasonable and promises Xia Xi that she will become the new mistress of the house if she follows him. She calls him pathetic, catching him off guard. She tells him that what he doesn't understand is love. She explains that she does not want the luxurious life of a concubine, but wants an honest heart, and accuses him of using her as a bargaining chip against his brother. He is surprised, admitting that he underestimated her, but says that she also underestimated male ambition. He confesses that he is now very interested in her and kisses her. She realizes that she has provoked him too much and decides that she has no choice but to use one of her new tools. She spends 10,000 points to activate the accident generator. At that moment, Minjiu's mother bursts into the room. His mother is furious, asking what he is doing. She scolds him for his inappropriate behavior when his position as head of the family is at stake. Xia Xi is surprised at how effective this accident was. Minyu tries to calm his mother down, but she continues to scold him for fighting with his brother over the maid. He explains his strategy. By controlling the maid, he will control Minluan. His mother smirks, believing that love will make Minluan forget about such things. He claims that even if Minluan were in love, he would not let her go, just like his mother. His mother accepts his apology and reminds him of her upcoming birthday. She tells him to show his father his full potential. Left alone, he wonders if his assumptions were just wishful thinking. Minjiu finds Xia Xi tied up again in the woodshed and asks her what she likes about Minglan. She lists his wisdom, devotion, and 8-pack abs. She continues to praise his strength and kind nature, much to Minju's annoyance. He tells her that Mingluan cannot marry her and is simply using her. Xia Xi quietly says that she already knows this. She understands that she is not part of Mingluan's life plans. She only hopes that he will fulfill his dreams. Minju is annoyed that in her eyes, everything related to his brother is good, while she ignores him. At the meeting, the 3 concubines and Huangfu Minju's legal wife try to please him. His legal wife, Yao Fenglan, feels confident in her position, believing that other women cannot compare to her. She is proud of her high birth and her ability to converse with her cultured husband. She believes that appearance is fleeting and that she is his true confidante, but she is troubled by his recent uncharacteristic behavior. She knows that he has become infatuated with her brother's maid and wonders what charm this girl possesses. Feng Lan asks why Xia Xi is serving tea instead of alcohol. Xia Xi explains that she noticed signs of inflammation in her master's mouth. She describes her morning observations in detail, proving her conclusion. She also says that she has already sent for doctor, just in case. Minjiu is impressed by her incredible powers of observation. He tells his wife that if she thinks this is all Xia Xi's doing, she is underestimating her.